comfortable with how physical this series has been? And the other series seemed even more physical.
Well, I already got fined for supporting Cheryl, so yeah, which I think is crazy. But look, I think there's nothing that we want more than just consistency. That's what I would say.
The WNBA has truly outdone itself this time. Fines are flying everywhere, and the latest victim, Stephanie White, who got slapped simply for daring to agree with another coach. Think about that, saying, "I agree about the refs" is now a punishable offense in this league. Fever fans are absolutely fuming. Caitlin Clark is still getting targeted game after game, and frankly, the league is starting to look like a full-blown circus. So do you think this fine proves the league is more interested in protecting refs than its star players? Let's dive deep into this, because honestly, things are getting beyond comical at this point. The WNBA is trying to market itself as a premier professional league, but the way it's policing coaches, officials, and even players' words makes it feel more like some backyard recreation league where the refs are just showing favoritism. And in this particular drama, Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, is the one getting fined, all because she showed support for Cheryl Reeve, who, by the way, already got hit with a suspension and a massive $15,000 fine herself after absolutely tearing into the refs and the Phoenix Mercury.
Hearing other coaches, you're hearing Becky talk about when you let the physicality happen, people get hurt, there's fights, and this is the look that our league wants for some reason. We were trying to play through it. We tried not to make excuses. One of the best players in the league shot 0 free throws. 0. And she had 5 fouls. 0 free throws. Got her shoulder pulled out and finished the game with her leg being taken out and probably has a fracture. And so if this is what our league wants, okay. But I want to call for a change of leadership at the league level when it comes to officiating.
But here's the absolute kicker that makes this whole thing wild. White didn't even go on some explosive rant. She didn't scream at a press conference. She didn't throw a chair like Bobby Knight used to, and she didn't even call out specific officials by name. What was her crime? She literally said, "I already got fined for supporting Cheryl. We just want consistency. That's it." That's the entire quote. That's what earned her a nice hefty bill from the league office. You'd think she got caught running onto the court and throwing punches, right? Nope, just asking for consistent officiating.
The officiating crew that we had tonight, for the leadership to deem those 3 people semifinals playoff worthy.
This is the WNBA's mind-bending logic in action. Reeve criticizes refs, boom, fine. White agrees with Reeve, boom, fine. Becky Hammond nods and says, she didn't lie, and guess what? At this ridiculous rate, if a coach sneezes too hard while talking about fouls, that's gonna be a quick $1,000, and if they actually dared to laugh at a blown call, instant suspension guaranteed. Now, the Fever fan base has every single right to be absolutely heated, because this isn't just about Stephanie White, this is fundamentally about Caitlin Clark being targeted by opponents game after game, and the league is punishing anyone who dares to even mention it. And let's not play dumb here. Clark has been officiated differently since her rookie year, and she's in year 2 now, stronger, smarter, yet she still gets absolutely hammered on drives, shoved off screens, and somehow often ends up being the one with the fouls called against her. You don't need a conspiracy board with red string to see it. Fans see it every single night. Caitlin drives, she gets hip checked, and there's no call, but someone breathes on Asia Wilson, whistle, instant free throws. And when White or anyone else dares to just ask for some basic balance, the league acts like it's pure slander. Imagine telling your paying audience, don't believe your own eyes, believe us. That's exactly what the WNBA is doing right now. But let's zoom out a bit, because this isn't just a Caitlin problem. The officiating has been legitimately trash across the board this entire season. Cheryl Reeve completely lost her mind for a reason. Her star, Nafisa Collier, was getting hacked half to death, only to be told to just play through it. Reeve spoke up, got punished. White agreed, got punished. Hammond said Reeve didn't lie, got punished. That's 3 coaches fined for highlighting the exact same issue in the span of 1 week. That's not accountability, that is straight up censorship. What about the playoffs? Look at Asia Wilson setting an illegal screen after illegal screen, no call. Now let's talk about how genuinely embarrassing this looks to everyone watching. Fans don't just watch the games, they live on social media, they share clips, they compare foul counts, and what do they see? The Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces. The Fever shoot 34 free throws. The Aces shoot 11. Becky Hammon loses it, and the next day, fine. Stephanie White dares to back up a fellow coach, and boom, another fine. Meanwhile, the refs, who completely botched those games, they get quiet promotions and another paycheck. Where is the accountability for them? If anything, these fines highlight just how incredibly insecure the league is about its own product. Instead of actually fixing the officiating, they muzzle the criticism instead of protecting their star players. And yes, Caitlin Clark is currently the main driver of viewership. They protect referees who are so inconsistent, you'd think they were flipping coins to decide calls. And let's be real, this no criticism culture makes the league look incredibly soft. The NBA has had decades of coaches ripping refs apart. Greg Popovich, Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, all of them have torched officials in post-game conferences. They got fined, sure, but usually for going completely nuclear, not for simply saying, I agree. You don't cheapen the fine system with petty $1,000 handouts for casual comments. It makes the league look broke and desperate for control. Speaking of broke, fans are starting to ask a really great question. Where does all this fine money actually go? According to the league, it gets split between programs like WNBA Cares and various community grants. That sounds nice on paper, but let's not pretend this money is somehow making its way into referee development, because if it did, we would absolutely see some improvement. Instead, we see the same mistakes, the same inconsistency, and the same fan outrage every single week. It's gotten so bad that conspiracy theories are actually gaining traction, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. Some fans truly believe that Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and the league are intentionally suppressing stars like Clark by allowing refs to rough her up, all while punishing her coach for speaking out. Why? To keep the league in check financially. The logic goes that if Clark explodes too big, too fast, owners will get pressured to invest more into things like charter flights, better salaries, and TV rights. By keeping her in her place, they slow down that momentum. Do I personally buy it? Not entirely, but when you find coaches for just whispering about refs, you're absolutely feeding that theory. And here's where it circles back directly to the Fever. Indiana has become the poster child for league mishandling. Clark gets beat up, Aaliyah Boston gets hacked, Erica Wheeler and Kelsey Mitchell get mugged on drives, and then White tries to call for consistency, and boom, fine. Fans are already sick of it. They're asking why they should invest in this team, buy tickets, or wear jerseys if the league itself is actively handicapping them. That's not just bad officiating anymore. That's actively sabotaging your own product. The optics here couldn't possibly be worse. The Fever are finally competitive. They're one win away from the finals. Caitlin Clark is breaking viewership records. Aaliyah Boston is putting up all-star numbers. And instead of celebrating that, the headlines are all about fine. Instead of letting the storylines be about the Fever upsetting the Aces, it's about Stephanie White's checkbook. Way to market the game, WNBA. Fans don't chant "we love fines," they chant "refs suck," and that chant is only getting louder. Clips circulate endlessly of Clark getting knocked to the floor with no whistle, of Boston's arms getting raked while posting up, of Lexi Hull getting shoved on rebound. Fans pile onto social media saying things like, "They're targeting Caitlin again," or "The refs want Vegas in the finals," or "Kathy is protecting her favorites." Whether any of that is true or not, perception absolutely matters, and right now the perception is ugly. What's even worse is how incredibly predictable it all feels. Everyone knew Reeve would get fined after her outburst. Everyone guessed Hammond would too, and everyone jokingly predicted White would get tagged for even agreeing, and then it actually happened. Fans shouldn't be predicting league punishments like it's some kind of reality TV show. That's how unserious the league looks right now. And let's not ignore the much bigger risk here. Alienating your biggest star. Caitlin Clark is the biggest draw this league has ever seen. More than Taurasi, more than Maya Moore, more than Sue Bird. She is a legitimate ratings magnet. She's selling out arenas on the road, and instead of protecting her from being hacked every single night, the league fines her coach for defending her. What exact message does that send? Shut up and just take the abuse? Good luck with that long term. Players talk, agents talk. If stars start to truly believe the league doesn't care about their safety or fair treatment, you've got a problem that no amount of fine money can possibly cover.
Going to Aaliyah the second half, what was, I guess, difficult about containing her? I know you guys kind of touched on a few things, maybe with the foul calls, but what made it successful for them to keep going to her tonight?
I don't know. You're gonna have to ask Aaliyah that question. I honestly, you just do your work. You got to do your work early and make it different. But Aaliyah did say I have a special whistle. And she shot 13 today.
She said that.
Yeah. Yeah. She said the last game I had a special whistle, which is cool. So we just got to play their better defense, make her looks a little difficult, and kind of go from there.
And while we're here, let's openly call out the sheer hypocrisy of it all. Becky Hammond is suddenly furious about free throw discrepancies. But seriously, where was all that energy when her aces were getting ridiculously favorable whistles all season long? Where was the outrage when Clark couldn't get a call to save her life against Vegas earlier this year? Now that the shoe's firmly on the other foot, suddenly the refs are incompetent? Welcome to Indiana's world, Becky.
While you're looking at that box score, I'm wondering what's really standing out to you there.
I was just looking at the fouls. Like, Liz had 5, Jackie had 5, Chelsea had 5. And that's very interesting to me because I'm not saying we don't foul. Yeah, we foul here, but that's very interesting.
Megan had 4.
What? Oh my God, that's interesting. That's what I was looking at. But we'll do better. We gotta play better defense.
By interesting, do you mean that shit?
Yeah, I can't say that because I got a brand to protect. But
Say it, I have no brand.
yeah, it's interesting. But we'll be better.
That's what makes this entire fine spree even funnier. Coaches aren't even saying anything groundbreaking. They're just saying what literally every fan already sees with their own eyes: consistency, accountability, the absolute basics of officiating. Instead, the league acts like refs are sacred cows. Criticize them, and you're treated like a criminal. Meanwhile, fans are left screaming at their TVs, constantly asking, how is that not a foul? Here's the uncomfortable reality. This problem doesn't simply go away with silence. Muzzling coaches only makes fans more convinced the league is actively hiding something. If refs were actually evaluated, if mistakes were admitted publicly, most people would simply move on. But the WNBA stubbornly refuses transparency. They act like bad calls never even happened. And when anyone dares to point it out, boom, another fine. That's not professionalism. That is pure insecurity. And Indiana Fever fans are quickly reaching their breaking point. It's one thing to fight through growing pains or to lose a game because you're simply outplayed. It's another thing entirely to feel like the league itself is actively tilting the floor against you. The Fever are finally relevant again, and instead of celebrating that, fans feel like they're battling both their opponents and the referees, and when their coach tries to advocate for them, she gets fined. It's a blatant slap in the face. Here's the crucial thing. When a league starts fining coaches for breathing the wrong way in post-game interviews, it creates an image problem far bigger than any single missed foul. The WNBA keeps telling the world it's growing, expanding and building momentum, but what casual fan tunes in sees a coach get fined for simply saying consistency and thinks, yeah, that's definitely the league for me. Nobody. Fans aren't dumb, they compare leagues. They've watched NBA coaches rip refs to shreds and still live to coach the next night. They've seen NFL coaches scream about holding calls and MLB managers kick dirt on umpires. Sports thrive on emotion. It's a fundamental part of the theater. But the WNBA wants everyone to act like emotionless robots. Say nothing, show nothing, challenge nothing. And in doing so, they're actively strangling their own product. And the funniest part of all this, fining Stephanie White doesn't actually solve the problem. It doesn't suddenly make the referees look competent. It doesn't magically erase the bad calls fans already clipped and posted online everywhere. It certainly doesn't make Caitlin Clark's bruises go away. All it truly does is confirm that the league is far more worried about protecting the referees' feelings than it is about protecting its own star. That's completely backwards. And let's be honest, this is absolutely going to backfire. Fever fans are already some of the most passionate and loyal in the entire WNBA. They've been showing up, buying merchandise, and filling arenas. They will defend Clark like she's family. Now you slap their coach with a fine for defending her. You just handed them a massive rallying cry. So expect every Fever home game to turn into an absolute boo fest for the refs, and every bad call to spark chants of Kathy sucks. The league literally invited that. And speaking of Kathy Engelbert, this entire fine circus puts her directly front and center. She's the commissioner. She signs off on this. She's the one sending the crystal clear message that criticism isn't allowed. But she can't hide behind policy forever. Fans want accountability from refs, not silence from coaches. If anything, her obsession with image control is actually doing more damage to the WNBA brand than 1,000 angry Cheryl Reeve press conferences ever could. And let's not overlook the immense irony here. The league constantly cries about wanting more media coverage, more eyeballs, more engagement. Well, guess what? You finally have it. Thanks to Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and the Fever's incredible ride. And instead of celebrating that success, you're finding your way into bad press. Every headline is about fines, not the actual basketball being played. That's self-sabotage, plain and simple. Here's the undeniable truth. The refs didn't cost the Aces every single loss, and they certainly didn't hand the Fever every single win. Indiana played their tails off. Boston was dominant. Mitchell hit huge shots. Clark, even when targeted, still found ways to impact the game. That's basketball. But when refs continuously insert themselves into the story and the league then doubles down with these fines, it completely overshadows the product on the floor. And this constant targeting of Caitlin Clark is the league's single biggest blind spot. She's not a rookie anymore. She's in year 2. She's proven she belongs. Proven she's a franchise player. Proven she's the reason millions are now watching. Yet game after game, she gets officiated like a bench warmer. Fans see it. Opposing players know it. And when her coach tries to defend her, she's punished. That is absolutely not how you build around your superstar. What the league should have done is incredibly simple. Admit that refs are inconsistent, promise improvement, and let coaches vent. That's completely normal. That's professional sport. Instead, they chose the clown route. Punish, fine, and pretend everything's fine. But nothing's fine. Fans are furious. Players are frustrated. Coaches are muzzled. The only ones happy are the refs who walk away untouched. At some point, the WNBA has to finally realize that this no criticism allowed policy isn't saving them. It's actively destroying their credibility. Because every single fine makes fans less likely to trust the refs, less likely to trust the league itself, and far more likely to believe in conspiracy theories. You don't build trust by silencing voices. You build it by owning mistakes until they learn that this frustrating cycle will keep repeating itself. So here we are again, another fine, another mess, and another reason fans are shaking their heads at the WNBA. Stephanie White spoke up for consistency, and the league slapped her down. Fever fans are boiling. Caitlin Clark is still taking hits, and the refs keep skating by untouched. Drop your thoughts below. Did the WNBA cross a serious line with this fine? And don't forget to like and subscribe for more takes like this.